What is functional grammar? The term functional indicates that the approach is concerned with meaning as opposed to formal grammar, which focuses on word classes such as nouns and verbs. Look here, the term functional indicates that the approach is concerned with meaning. The word functional grammar is basically based on what is the meaning in the text. It looks at the meaning in the text as opposed to formal grammar, which focuses on word classes such as nouns and verbs. Look, in the first point, what is the main idea? That functional grammar is that kind of grammar which looks at the text from the point of view of meaning, while formal grammar is the type of grammar which focuses on the grammatical items of grammar like nouns, verbs, adjectives, and so on. So see the difference between the two. Functional grammar is all about meaning. Formal grammar is all about classification and explanation of grammatical items. This is the fundamental difference between functional grammar and formal grammar. We move to the point number 2. These units of meanings are represented in various oral and written texts. Look, units of meanings here means that when we say that we study functional grammar in relation to meaning, so meaning from where? Meaning from what? So we derive meaning from texts, and there are two types of texts generally. The first type of text is oral text. Oral text means the spoken form, and then we have the written text that we write. So the texts can be divided into two parts. Texts may be oral, text may be written. You may analyze somebody speaking something, you may look at the meaning of what somebody has spoken, and sometimes you may read a paragraph and you look at the meaning what somebody has written about. So the meaning can be explained in two different ways. One way at looking at the meaning is what somebody has spoken, another way to derive meaning is to what somebody has written. That is why point number 2 is all about we are represented in various oral and written texts. Oral means spoken form. Point number 3, functional grammar is interested to analyze language at the text level rather than sentences. Look here, functional grammar does not talk about only one sentence, does not talk only about one single word. In formal grammar, we talk about words, we talk about sentences, and we analyze how the words help in the construction of sentences. So in formal grammar, we just end up ourselves in the construction of a sentence, and we talk about just one sentence and at the level of sentence. But in functional grammar, we don't talk about one single sentence. We talk about the text level, the paragraph level, the composition level. The text may be small, the text may be long, depending upon what you are going to look at. So these are some of the important points regarding what is functional grammar. Each point is very important, so please try to understand them, memorize them, and keep them in mind. Now we move on to the next page. We continue with the same idea. What is functional grammar? Point number 4. Functional grammar is functional in 3 different but closely related senses in its interpretations. Functional grammar is functional, means it works at 3 levels, and all these 3 levels look differently, but they are very, very closely connected with each other. Number A, of texts. We look at the texts, look at the composition, look at the oral or written text. Number B, of the system. When we say system is the language. When you look at the text, spoken or written, then what comes to your mind after you look at the text? After you look at any piece of writing, then you just immediately think how this has been written, how this text has been composed. So when we think of how this has been composed, how this has been written, it means that we are talking about the system. How the system has helped in the formation and the composition of the text. Then we have the elements of linguistic structures. We analyze texts, that's okay. Then we also look at the system, the language that helps in the construction of the texts, in the making of the texts, in the composition of the texts. And then we also analyze different linguistic structures. How beautiful are the structures in the text, and what implications they have at the level of the meanings. So this is point number 4 about what is functional grammar. So far we have talked about, so far we have discussed point number 1, 2, 3 and 4.